Let's go. Hogan's Heroes versus the real French underground. Truth behind the laughter. In 1965, millions tuned in to watch Hogan's Heroes, a comedy set in a German prisoner of war camp. With secret tunnels, hidden radios, and daring sabotage, it made Nazi camps look almost funny. But beneath the laughs and catchphrases, much of Hogan's Heroes was inspired by real underground operations. Networks that risked everything to fight Hitler's regime from the inside. Today, we're uncovering the truth behind the fiction. How Hogan's Heroes borrowed from real-life wartime espionage, and how the French underground carried out missions so daring they made Hollywood look tame. When Hogan's Heroes premiered in 1965, audiences had never seen anything like it. A World War II sitcom set in a Nazi POW camp. Stalag 13 was run by the bumbling Colonel Klink and the lovable Sergeant Schultz, who famously saw nothing. But behind Hogan's jokes and secret gadgets was a well-oiled underground operation. Hidden tunnels, coded messages, sabotage missions, and even an escape network for downed Allied pilots. Pacing, it was fantasy, but it echoed the real networks of the French resistance and special operations executive, who carried out similar missions across occupied Europe. In the real war, underground networks weren't built beneath POW camps, but beneath villages, safe houses, and farms across France. They forged papers, hid airmen, tapped phone lines, and sent intelligence back to London using secret radios hidden inside bread loaves or wine crates. While Hogan's Heroes exaggerated these operations for laughs, real resistance work was deadly serious and deadly dangerous. If captured, agents faced torture or execution. Just like in Hogan's Heroes, many real resistance groups were coordinated from London by the Special Operations Executive, or SOE, the British Secret Service tasked with setting Europe ablaze. Behind the fictional heroes of Stalag 13 stood real ones. The SOE trained hundreds of men and women who operated behind enemy lines, many working with the French underground. These women carried radios instead of rifles, and messages instead of grenades, but their missions often inspired the same kind of clever trickery we saw on Hogan's Heroes. In real life, they used misdirection, disguise, and coded communication to stay one step ahead of the enemy. In fact, Hogan's Heroes had military advisors who drew directly from wartime experience, including men who worked in intelligence during World War II. Stay tuned to the end to see who from the cast drew on their real experiences. They brought authenticity and a quiet defiance to their roles, turning comedy into a subtle act of remembrance. Hogan's men smuggled dynamite and outwitted the Gestapo on screen. The French resistance did it for real. Networks like Combat, Franc-Tireur, and Libération coordinated sabotage before D-Day. When the Allies landed in Normandy, the resistance cut German communication lines, blew up railways, and ambushed convoys, delaying reinforcements long enough for the Allies to gain ground. One of the key liaisons between the French resistance and the Allies was Colonel Maurice Buckmaster, head of the SOE's French section, and his deputy, Vera Atkins, who coordinated agents in the field. Atkins herself was known for personally debriefing agents, many of whom never returned, and later helped bring Nazi war criminals to justice. Hogan's Heroes turned war into satire, but behind the laughter was something profound. The show aired just 20 years after the war, at a time when many survivors were still healing. If you are enjoying this video, Please hit the like, subscribe, and notify bell to watch more videos on this channel. Comments and feedback are always welcome, as well as suggestions for other topics. And now here's the story of the cast members' real experiences during World War II. Before they made audiences laugh on Hogan's Heroes, 3 of its stars, Robert Clary, who played Corporal LeBeau, Werner Klemperer, who was Colonel Klink, and John Banner, also known as Sergeant Schultz, lived through the very horrors their show satirized. Their real-life stories of survival, courage, and irony make Hogan's Heroes more than just a comedy. It's a triumph of resilience. First up, Corporal LeBeau. Born Robert Max Widerman in 1926 Paris, Robert Clary was just a teenager when the Nazis invaded France. Before 16 years old, he and his family were deported to Auschwitz. Of the 13 members of his family sent there, he was the only survivor. In the camp, Clary sang "For the Guards," a survival tactic that may have saved his life. After liberation, he returned to Paris, rebuilding his life through music. His voice and humor became his salvation. By the 1950s, he had moved to the United States, appearing on TV and Broadway. When he joined Hogan's Heroes as Corporal Louis LeBeau, Clary said he didn't see the show as mocking the war, but as a testament that laughter is the best revenge. Next, we have the bumbling Colonel Klink. Werner Klemperer was born in Cologne, Germany, in 1920. His father, the world-famous conductor Otto Klemperer, was Jewish, and as Nazi power rose, the family fled to the United States in 1935. Werner served in the U.S. Army during World War II, fighting against the same regime that had forced him to flee. Later, when offered the role of Klink, he agreed only under 2 conditions. Klink must never succeed, and he must always look ridiculous doing it. Klemperer saw it as poetic justice, portraying the Nazi commandant as a fool instead of a feared tyrant. And finally, the lovable Sergeant Schultz, played by John Banner, beloved for playing the kind-hearted Sergeant Schultz, was born Johann Banner in Vienna, Austria in 1910. He studied law before turning to acting, but when the Nazis annexed Austria in 1938, Banner, who was Jewish, escaped to America. During the war, Banner joined the U.S. Army Air Corps, serving in the fight against Hitler's Germany. When asked about portraying a German guard, Banner famously said, "Who better to play Nazis than we who hate them the most?" Ironically, the man who played "I Know Nothing" had survived and fought against the very regime that inspired his character. For Clary, Klemperer, and Banner, Hogan's Heroes wasn't just comedy, it was reclamation. They took the pain of war, loss, and exile, and turned it into something the Nazis could never understand: joy. Their stories remind us that even in the darkest times, courage, talent, and humor can outlast hate. For Jewish actors like Klemperer and Banner, both survivors who lost family to the Holocaust, portraying foolish Nazis was its own form of revenge. They flipped fear into humor, the ultimate act of resistance. The laughter of Hogan's Heroes came from real pain and real bravery. The French underground and the SOE's secret networks laid the foundation for the stories we still tell today.
Please like and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that bell for more updates. Au bientôt!
Comments are welcome. Please share your thoughts.